Yurukill the Calumniation Games, while being very hard to say, does look pretty interesting. The fact that it blends a visual novel and detective aspect with a shmup. Could work. I hope so. I'm always interested in games that try to blend multiple genres together, so when I first caught wind of Yurukill, I knew I had to give it a try. The biggest question for me though is, does this feel like one complete game or games with multiple parts? While I enjoyed playing Yurukill, there's no doubt that each genre feels separate to one another. This isn't helped by how formulaic the game is. Story sequence, puzzle, story sequence, shmup, rinse and repeat. While this is common for a lot of games, it's a real issue with Yurukill. Any tension and intrigue lessens because you are used to the routine the game has forced upon you. This also leads into the next issue I have. The plot is too obvious and is extremely linear. Yurukill would have massively benefited if it went for the zero escape format with multiple endings and more player freedom, especially when you are stuck with characters that you dislike, which for me was most of them. It would have been amazing to have tried to solve the overarching story, even more so when some of the characters have amnesia, so you could have plenty of red herrings spread throughout the story. Now, with all that being said, the biggest strength of Yurukill is the setting and premise. Getting a bunch of criminals to solve their own crimes is a clever idea. Added to this is the innocent setting of an amusement park and happy-go-lucky music. It's a nice little touch that I appreciate. While the story is linear, the writing in places is pretty clever and even have me chuckle every now and then. Now onto the gameplay. The puzzles are all easy enough to solve, with you mainly having to think outside the box instead of being brain-meltingly difficult. Even if you get stuck, the hints provided will help guide you without saying the answer outright. The shoot 'em up gameplay is linked to how well you remember each crime case. Answering questions correctly gives you more lives, incorrectly takes them away. The main shmup levels are extremely forgiving on normal until you get to the boss fights, which, with one exception, are all fun to maneuver around the complete chaos that ensues on the screen. Sadly, there is one boss fight where you can literally stay still at the bottom of the screen and never be damaged. Yurukill is worth checking out for those of you wanting a more interactive visual novel to play. However, it still feels jarring with how each genre is thrown together. There's plenty to like, but there is also many annoyances in equal measure. Okay, so my thoughts are right. It is interesting. The game itself is pretty competent. However, it just gets stuck in that pattern all too often, which would put a lot of people off. And I think while I enjoyed my time with it and completed the game and was like, okay, even though there is a twist, which you'll see coming, pretty much the whole storyline feels like that. But yeah, it just needs a little bit extra just to stay away from the formula to really go, this is how like you blend the genres together. It still feels that they're separated because of the way that it's just so formulaic. I think as soon as it gets a bit more comfortable with itself and can intertwine those kind of genres together, I think that's when it will really just elevate itself and become an absolute must-play game. But I do think that if it piques your curiosity, you should play it, and I recommend it to you if it does. If it doesn't, and you're kind of worried, I'd say just give it a try, but you may not enjoy the formulaic, just very predictable nature of it. But I enjoyed myself, and I'm sure you will too.